Given all the turmoil in the financial markets and the uncertainty regarding wine pricing, this seemed like an ideal time for me to reveal some of the very best wine values I know. I've got 8 of them. 3 of them sell for as little as $20 or so in the United States, and the most expensive of these wines sells for around $50. While I've tasted a number of outstanding wines for the first time this year, this first best value wine is probably my favorite wine discovery of the year. I first tasted this wine a few weeks ago when I was at the wine club with some friends. Someone gave us a blind taste of a wine that we knew immediately was a high-quality red Burgundy. A short time later, we found out it was selling for only $50 per bottle. Within seconds, we immediately divided up equally all inventory of this wine that they had. This wine is an absolute screaming value. It's a wine that's a village wine, but it stands a good chance of being upgraded to Premier Cru in the very near future. If that happens, you can rest assured that both the existing inventory as well as future vintages will sell for much more than this wine sells for currently. This is the Domaine Regis Bouvier, Marsannay, Les Longeroies, Vieilles Rouge. Of course, Marsannay is an excellent place for value generally, particularly if you can be selective and find some of the best producers. Marsannay first received AOC status back in 1987, but currently they do not have any Premier Cru sites. Significantly, however, there's 2 vineyard sites that are up for Premier Cru status, including Les Longeroies. As the name for this wine suggests, the fruit for this wine comes from old vines that average an impressive 50 years of age. Les Longeroies is a sloping vineyard with ideal sun exposure. This wine matures for 12 months in 20% New French oak, and it is unfined and unfiltered. This wine was extremely vibrant and expressive, with aromas that burst from the glass. Flavors and aromas included black cherry, pomegranate, tea, and mixed spice. There was impressive acidity and a long lingering finish. A stunningly complex wine for this price point. There are not very many opportunities at all to get a screaming buy in Burgundy these days. It's very rare to be able to pay village-level prices to get a Premier Cru quality wine. But that's absolutely the situation with this first wine, so you'll definitely want to back up the truck on this one. The next best value wine is a bit of a throwback wine that the producer makes for those who are young at heart and curious about the forgotten past of Piemonte. The producer makes this wine in accordance with a wine tasting note that dates way back to 1606 from the jeweler of the House of Savoia. This is a lively, energetic wine that's very easy to drink and the perfect choice for a red wine for summer, namely the GD Vajra Clare JC Nebbiolo. This impressive wine sells for only around $20 or so per bottle in the United States. To make this wine, they actually bottle it a very short time after fermentation. To give you an idea, for the 2023 vintage, they harvested between September 27 and October 6, and then they fermented the wine, but they were bottling it already the first week in February, so only about 4 months after harvest. This wine features flavors and aromas of cherries, raspberries, cranberries, and rose petals. This is extremely vibrant and expressive. There can be a slight effervescence to this wine as well, given the short fermentation and the quick bottling turnaround time. This next wine is a wine that I've been buying for my own collection for several years now, and it offers extraordinary value. This is a wine that comes from a 5th-generation winemaker who started his own estate back in 2012. To produce his first wine, he purchased a small 2-hectare plot in a prestigious vineyard called Les Michelins. This is a vineyard that was planted way back in 1903. Immediately after acquiring this prestigious parcel, Yohan Lardy immediately converted it to organic practices, shunning herbicides in favor of a plow and relying on natural biodiversity instead of chemical insecticides. The Yohan Lardy Moulin-a-Vent Vieille de 1903 sells for as little as €23 if you're able to buy it direct from the producer on its website. In the United States, you'll pay around $35 per bottle. This is a well-balanced wine with impressive purity of fruit. While it's a Gamay, it's a powerful, structured Gamay that benefits from some additional time in the bottle. I found that it shows its best between 5 and 10 years after the vintage, and it will certainly age for 15 with no problem whatsoever. I like to buy it in quantity so I can let some age for an extended period of time before I try them. This is a mineral-driven wine with black fruit and lots of spice. It's got a long, complex finish. This wine matures in Burgundy barrels for around 10 months, and they ferment with natural yeast, and there's no sulfites added. Back in 1997, Phil Sexton established Giant Steps Winery in Australia's Yarra Valley region. He named it Giant Steps after a famous John Coltrane album because he's a big jazz lover. I visited the Yarra Valley back in October, and I was extremely impressed both with the wines generally and in Giant Steps wines in particular. Yarra Valley has a cool climate that allows for an extended growing season, which allows for cool climate grapes like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay to achieve full ripeness, yet to maintain ample acidity, elegance, and freshness. While Giant Steps is particularly well known for its high-quality single vineyard expressions of both Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, they also have an appellation Pinot Noir that offers incredible value at around $45 per bottle. The Giant Steps single vineyard Pinot Noir sells for at least $90, and some of them are $100 or more. So this is definitely an excellent opportunity to try a Giant Steps wine and see if it might be in your wheelhouse. The fruit for this wine comes from a mix of upper and lower Yarra Valley fruit. Some of it is estate-grown fruit, and some of it is sourced from growers. Giant Steps uses a gravity flow system to produce their wines, and they use 30% whole bunches, which gives this wine an intriguing savory note. This wine matured for around 8 months in 10% New French oak, and it was unfined and unfiltered. I really enjoyed the 2023 vintage when I visited back in October, but the 2024 vintage is on store shelves now. 2024 was a classic vintage, so you can't go wrong with either one of these vintages. You can expect a red fruit profile. I detected red cherry, rhubarb. It's also extremely spicy and savory, but there's an elegance and a freshness too. Really an impressive wine, and one that definitely punches well above its $45 price point. I was in Bordeaux again last week, and while I was there, I had the opportunity to taste a number of additional bottlings from 2022. I continue to be extremely impressed with 2022 Bordeaux generally. Even many entry-level wines at extremely low price points are concentrated and enjoyable. So my high-level recommendation is to stock up on 2022 Bordeaux generally. Certainly if there's any favorite producers that you have, this is definitely a vintage you'll want to buy and include in your collection. But in this video, I'm going to identify one particular wine that I think offers excellent value at around $40 or so in the United States, and probably for much less than that in the EU, namely the 2022 Chateau Tour Saint Christophe. This producer is located on Bordeaux's right bank in Saint-Emilion, and this wine is a blend that consists of 80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Franc. The Tour Saint Christophe vineyards have ideal south and southwest facing exposure, and they have soils with excellent drainage, which is certainly helpful in rainy vintages like 2024. But better still, this estate experienced new ownership back in 2012, and at that time the new owners spared little expense in overhauling the winery and reinvigorating the vineyards. The vines in these vineyards average about 30 years of age at this time. Tour Saint Christophe has been on a roll lately, and I particularly enjoy the vintages from 2018, 2019, and 2020, but 2022 may be my favorite of the bunch. This wine features a mix of red, black, and blue fruit with ample acidity, silky tannins, and a long, pleasing finish. If you're interested in wine recommendations, wine collecting strategies, and learning more about wine, please do subscribe to my channel. I've been collecting wine for more than 15 years and also have a level 4 diploma from the WSET. So I have both formal certification as well as substantial practical knowledge from the School of Hard Knocks. Fans of Spanish wines will appreciate this next recommendation, which sells for as little as $20 or so in the United States, and undoubtedly significantly less than that in the EU. This is the 2020 Palacios Remondo Finca La Montesa Rioja. This is a wine that's dominant in Garnacha, but it usually includes some Tempranillo as well. It's a very serious wine despite this modest price point, and it's one that's done extremely well with critics. Jancis Robinson, in particular, is definitely a fan of this wine. Given the fact that this is a serious wine, they're already pushing the price up to try to get it more in line with the quality of this wine. So this is definitely a great opportunity to stock up on this one while you still can at these low prices. They made almost 700,000 bottles of this wine, so there's still plenty of it in retail channels. You'll definitely want to move quickly as the 2020 vintage already has some age on it, and they may come out with another vintage soon. This is a medium-bodied wine with pronounced aromatic intensity. Flavors and aromas include red cherry, raspberry, strawberry, red currant, and floral notes. It's getting very difficult to get a great deal on a high-quality Super Tuscan wine these days. Prices have gone up exponentially over the past 5 or 10 years, but this next best value is a high-quality Super Tuscan wine that sells for only around $20 per bottle. Better still, it's a wine that you can either enjoy immediately or over the next 3 to 4 years. This is a wine that's produced by a quality-minded producer of Brunello di Montalcino that was founded back in 1984. This particular wine is a blend that includes grape varieties such as Syrah and Petit Verdot. They ferment this wine in stainless steel and mature it exclusively in concrete, which helps to preserve the purity of the fruit. Despite the modest price point for this wine, it was well received by critics. This is a wine that's concentrated and savory with a dark fruit profile. Flavors and aromas include blackberry, black cherry, black currant, violet, chocolate, and spice. This is the Castello Romotorio IGT from the outstanding 2021 vintage in Tuscany. Charles Smith was a rock band manager in Denmark in the 1990s, and he spent about 10 years touring Europe. After that, he moved to Washington, and following a visit to Walla Walla, Washington, he was inspired to make his first vintage of Syrah in 1999. So Charles Smith founded K. Vintners Winery and produced 330 cases of K. Vintners Syrah, which he sold out of the back of his 1987 Chevy Astro van. So the next top wine is the 2021 K. Vintners Motor City Syrah. Better still, I found this wine selling for as little as $39 per bottle. So definitely shop around for it, and you might be able to get this one for a substantial discount to some of the other wines in this video. James Suckling is absolutely enamored with this wine as he gave it a 99-point score. Several other critics who reviewed it gave it a 93. I've tasted a number of K. Vintners wines in the past, and some of them tend to be a little bit too big and robust for my taste, but I learned that I particularly enjoy this wine because the fruit comes from a cool climate vineyard. In fact, the aromatics and flavors for this wine remind me a lot of a Northern Rhone Syrah, which is the highest compliment that I can possibly give to a Syrah. Specifically, flavors and aromas for this wine include blackberry, licorice, smoked meat, olive, and mixed herb. There's impressive elegance and freshness. If you're wondering about the vineyard source, it's one of the top vineyards in Yakima Valley, namely the Bouvier Vineyard. If you're a fan of cool climate Syrah like I am, you'll definitely want to give this one a try. If you'd like to learn more about Italian wines, I've published numerous videos on various Italian wine subjects, including Super Tuscan wines, Barolo, Brunello, Chianti Classico, and many more. So if you'd like to check those out, be sure to check out the playlist that's linked above.